This week on Amazingly Terrible, we are watching Gundam Seed, Episode 8, The Songstress of the Enemy Forces.
David has nothing for this.
David.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Come on, David.
What it deserves.
You're listening to Amazingly Terrible, the podcast that wants you to know some stuff, just not good stuff. My name's Adam.
My name's Matt.
My name's David.
They call me Mike.
It is true that we want to educate people in idiocy.
Even if it is by exposing our own.
I mean, that's primarily
Well, yeah,
what
that's
we
the
have
whole
to
point
teach.
of this. Yeah.
Well, I'm stating the obvious, but I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast also.
Because it could be, we see this as not gifting, but imposing our wisdom on future generations.
I would say it's forcing it down their throat like the way that Adam eats anything.
Yeah, because I know, dear listener, I know you're sitting in the Library of Congress right now, listening to the two greatest artifacts to come out of the 21st century. The complete podcast recordings of Amazingly Terrible, and
Mark
just
Twain.
a repeating audio Foley track of Adam eating.
That is the ASMR. That's what is in commercials in 2735 is like Adam chewing and them saying, "You know you want to eat Taco Bell 5.1."
Yeah, you filthy 27-fivers. We know what gets you hard. Fucking Adam's mouth.
Adam's big lips just smacking around,
Hot,
slathering
sweaty lips.
food down its gullet.
Not quite grasping the object he's trying to eat.
David, I have only one thing to say. What the fuck? Curse your dice.
You're the one who added this to the list.
I didn't add this episode.
No, it's fruit of the poison tree, Mike.
Okay, so do you guys remember from Jurassic Park where Ian Malcolm taps on the camera and says, "Do you plan on having dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour?" I found myself during this episode saying, "Are there any Gundams in this Gundam episode?" And
Well, first of all, they're called Jin in this.
the answer is there's like one Gundam, and it's because of a flashback. So here's my summary of this entire episode. Okay.
Okay, we're getting right to it.
My entire summary of this episode is analogous to the Dragon Ball Z charging up episode, where the entire episode is them going, or the let's cut to Earth and see what all the Earthlings are doing, or back at Namek. Back at Namek, what's going on with the Namekians? This entire
This is called
episode.
We Don't Have a Plot.
This was
That's what this is called.
This was a fluff episode with fluff characters and fluff plot, and I need to say fluff 3 more times before I really get my point across that there's actually not a goddamn thing going on in this entire episode. But my checklist at the end does cover all of the main basic anime tropes that we need to go through. So,
yeah, I was going to say this is more of a character building episode than a combat episode, but
Yeah.
But the characters are so terrible that you could hardly say that they've built anything.
Well, it's barely anything characteristic to them. Like, the only thing that you really get is, like, a slight bit of backstory. But, honestly, the most telling thing about this episode was the preview for the next episode.
Yeah.
damn it. Don't you hate when that happens?
I'm really disappointed that you saw how terrible this was, Mike, because I was really looking forward to just fucking railing at it while you were I was imagining you going, yeah, but you don't understand the intricacies. Do you see what he's feeling? This goes back to season 8 of the first series.
Well, no, you got to understand. I was never big onto mech anime. It was.
Okay.
It didn't,
Oh no, we know what you like about anime.
I know, and I know you know, and we know, and I'm pretty sure most of our viewers know by now.
It's organic, to say the least.
It's Germanic.
Germanic?
Is that
Like Germanic or
Germanic?
Germanic?
It's both. I've heard it both ways. It's Germain. It's Germain, and not like the Jackson 5 member. It's.
I just made that joke.
So guys, you guys. All right, gentlemen. What does Gundam stand for?
Webster's defines Gundam.
Are you saying it's an acronym?
Gundam is an acronym.
Oh,
And
really?
depending
Okay.
on the source of information that you get from the internet, which is always true except on days today, April Fools, everyone, it's the one time of year that people actually double check the information they get on the internet. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So Gundam could actually stand
You
for
believed it.
generation unsubdued nuclear. Nuclear.
How did it get an S in there?
Nuclear.
Unsubdued is the word?
Unsubdued is one word. It's U. So generation unsubdued nuclear drive assault module.
Nuclear.
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 The S is silent, dummy. Or it could be.
This is who we have sitting in our silos.
They kicked me out. It was a mutual break. You know, we both needed time off. Or it could be generation unrestricted network drive assault module. Or it could be giant unrealistic nuclear dams armed masterfully.
Gamma ununification demalium amalgama mobile suit.
Or Gunnery United Nuclear Deuterion Advanced Maneuver System Gundam Seed Destiny anime.
Govern of Universal National Decide Advanced Mobile Suit.
Or goddamn unthought of nuclear damn atom mat.
Genetic on Universal Neutrality Different Alloy Neum mobile suit.
Gundam.
I'm just confused because here we have Gundam spelled with a D-U-M.
Gundam. It's the dumbest of the Gundam.
Okay, here's the best one that I've seen so far. Like literally, like actually the best one. General Unilateral Neurolink Dispersive Autonomic Maneuver System. That's much better.
How about go under neither dog, Aunt May?
I love it. Let's go with that. That's
under
forever Gundam.
neither dog, Aunt May. Perfect.
What about the M?
May.
I may not know how to spell Gundam.
Nation. Animation.
Animation. That's right. The M is a small M, not a big M.
No. You're saying it like Spider-Man would say it to his Aunt May. So it's go
Spider-Man?
under neither dog, Aunt May.
Aunt May.
Go under neither dog, Aunt May, maybe.
Aunt May.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So we open to a gigantic space armada battle. With lasers and the pew-pew, and we're trying to figure out what's going on because we started at episode 8 and not episode 1, so we really don't have any idea what's going on other than, obviously, there's Faction A versus Faction B fighting each other. And
I called this the trapezoids versus the triangles.
Yeah, this is obviously a recap of last episode because nothing interesting happens in this episode.
Yes, exactly.
Shit, I just fucking spit out my drink.
I feel like the opening is pretty awesome. Honestly, we get a little summary of the history of the future, and we get to learn about the very exciting Valentine's Day incident or whatever the fuck it is.
I love that explosions are pink and green in the future. Like, I'm so tired of these boring explosions right now. Just, Michael Bay explosions being all red and just, gray.
Yeah, why should red have all the fun,
Yeah.
Let the other colors into play
Some
around.
pink and purple out
Pink
there.
is such a beautiful explosion color.
Oh, man, I agree. Really, when I see an explosion, I look for the pink, if you know what I mean.
If it's not pastel, it's not perfect.
Well, I kind of look for the pink before the explosion, but,
That's why you are the master and I am just a lowly pick student.
Do you want to do a little bit of background there, Mike? I think the only thing that's really important for us to know is that this is the 9th
Gundam
installment.
stands for...
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, wait. Oh. No, okay.
This is the ninth installment of the Gundam franchise. I think that's the most important thing. And this was...
Oh, okay.
This came out in early 2000s, so this is what, 20...
But this does take place in an alternate universe, so it's not continuous with any of the other...
it isn't.
So this won't tie into the one universe theory at all? Like,
that makes a lot of sense.
So could this tie... I think that this somehow ties into Garfield, or maybe even Heathcliff.
Well, I had a question about that because it felt like the area we was really constrained. Like, everything just seemed to take place right around Earth, unless I was really misunderstanding the space geography.
Like the logistics.
But it seemed like, it seems like they were all really close to Earth, and I was like, well, have all the other series done like they've slowly closed in that this is the only zone of the war left to talk about? Because they've covered, like, this is what they were like on Earth. This is what they were like on Venus.
This is where they were
like in increasing zones of influence. Right. Yeah.
So this is the 9th installment, Gundam Seed. So is there also, like, Gundam.hack and Gundam Online and Gundam Slayer and Gundam Z?
These are gamer jokes, everybody. The gamer jokes.
These are anime jokes, dum-dum.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea because it doesn't say that directly at the very first part of the Wikipedia page, which is the only thing I'm looking at right now.
Gundam Seed and Moon, or Sun and Moon.
I can tell you that this series spawned 3 compilation films. And was adapted into a manga, as well as light novels. And there was a sequel series called Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny.
It sounds a lot like you've done some research, Adam.
Legend of Gundam.
Novel. No, it's
The Return
Wikipedia.
of Gundam.
Wikipedia.
How does this episode begin?
Like I said, a gigantic space armada battle. And then we have our protagonist looking all teary-eyed.
Wait. I wanted to mention that it does look super cool, and it's all hand animated, except for a few CGI bits that look like garbage.
Yeah, it's obviously early 2000s.
Yeah, it's before they started adding 3D CGI in and trying to cool up their anime. This is all classic anime, animation.
No, this is. I think this is right at the beginning. This is right at the beginning when they started to add CG 3D things because they have a little bit in the space scenery, but that's about it.
Yeah, the explosions.
Yeah, but it's still 3D. It's not 3D for 2D.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah.
Cell rendered. It's not cell rendered.
Oh,
and it's hot garbage.
Don't get me started.
So
those bits are hot garbage, but everything else looks awesome. Lots of pew pews and bang bangs and splodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It well drawn for anime. Obviously, anime was known for their cost cutting. So
wait, what? Are you
in comparison to like Disney? They're meticulous.
They're lavish spending on animators.
Yes.
You mean like in comparison to like DuckTales?
Woo.
What are we talking about here? All right, let's move on.
You were saying that the anime is good, or the animation is good for an anime because animation sucks.
Generally, they only animate a very small portion of the entire screen. They have like large amounts of dialogue or monologue over static pictures.
The whole form of anime is completely controlled by its budget. Like they animate at 16 frames a second instead of 32. The quick snaps between poses is a cost-saving measure. Like, you don't draw all the in-betweens of characters moving fluidly. They snap from position to position. And then, lots of well-drawn still images, because it's easier to draw one nice image than many simple images.
And honestly, I feel like that it hasn't become it's not a crutch, it's become a defining feature of anime, which is, in its own right, kind of, it's not something to be, like, proud of, but it's something that is distinguishable for anime.
Yeah, we've glorified garbage. Our culture is like our podcast. We are a microcosm of the greater world around us.
During the space battle, we have a teary-eyed protagonist who happens to find a pod.
Yeah, I call this Goofus Finds a Life pod.
He happens upon it, and they bring it into their ship, because what else would you do with a strange pod? Let's bring it on board.
Oh,
it worked for aliens.
This is number one in this military is completely incompetent.
It worked for aliens, so why not do this now?
Yeah. Why aren't they opening it, say, in an airlock?
Or a quarantine zone?
Yes, or into a cell.
Yep.
But no, because what happens is the gruff technician guy,
with an ascot. He has an ascot.
Yeah, he's actually.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
He's actually the coolest character.
Yeah.
And they have a couple guys with guns, guarding, but then little annoying
6 guys with guns.
sidekick robot comes popping out, and then we have our wispy, beautiful, pink-haired anime girl pop out of the...
Except
like
it does look a lot like someone has smacked her in the head. Yeah, someone has cranked her in the side of the face, and like her nose is way over to the left.
You saw that too. She looks
like her mouth
weird.
is open, and she's like, it's like she's like drooling, and she's just sort of like.
It's like Mike Tyson like punched someone and then threw them out of a.
And if this military was in all competent, that is when the guard should have opened fire. Yes, that is, and that's the end of the episode. We're done.
My favorite.
Too distracted by the robot. She was already completely out of the pod by the time they noticed her.
Oh yeah. She's completely on, like she's high as a fucking kite.
They should have fucking smoked her off the bat.
This is the first confusing point for me, because it seemed like everybody was standing, and that there was gravity on the ship. And then she floats out of the pod, and I was like, is her species supposed to be able to fly? Is this like
No, they have mag boots.
Well, I get that through context later on. I didn't realize it was that snarky, sorry.
No, it was beautiful.
I
want
to
them both
snark.
like a man.
So, but yeah, like, obviously they use a lot of hair products in the future.
I call this character Cotton Candy Curtains, or 3C.
I see that.
She's also her personality is cloyingly sweet as well, so it's very.
Oh my god, she's the worst character.
It gives you
fucking
cavities
nightmare
just listening to her. But hey, that's part of the trope, you got to have one of those.
Then we get into the theme song in the opening, and this sucks a space bird dick.
Fuck you. Okay, this is the one good thing about this episode is that we cut to the opening credits, and it's pure Eurodance trash.
Oh yeah.
But it's in Japanese, and I love that they didn't. I'm looking at you, Pokemon. They didn't Americanize it. They didn't try to like, hey, Pokemon. They didn't like, hey, this is Gundam, blam, bloom, bloom, pew, pew, pew. I'm a guy and I'm talking about Gundam and boom, boom, boom. Yeah, they actually kept it authentic and original, which that's the one good thing I have to say about this episode is they actually kept the opening like authentic.
Well,
and
I do
total early 2000s Eurodance, anime opening trash, but it's good.
No, you're wrong.
Mike, I actually agree
bad.
with you on this. I think that it was good. I think it was one of the best parts of the the episode. The only part that was really
he put up a lot of competition for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is
the only
kind
part
of
that
like
wasn't, was the weird pink silhouette of a naked girl with bouncing boobies.
Yeah,
just sort of floating in space for no reason.
The random nudity.
Oh, did I miss that? Where is it?
The random faux nudity. Yeah, exactly.
Bootity. Wasn't there one scene where they showed our main characters and 3C like starting to look like they're going to be intimate and they're naked?
Yeah. They're like naked in space and then they like embrace each other.
This is the exact sound that you hear going through any like Japanese pachinko parlor or like arcade. It's like that loud, blasty music, and it's got like the Gundam launching, and it's got like the random sci-fi, abort, like the flashy, like technical screen stuff. It's got like all of the good things that make an opening. It's got like the side-scrolling characters. It's got people holding up guns. It's
a
got
bunch of people we don't give a shit about for 3 seconds apiece.
Profile of the Gundam. It's got all of the things that make a really good opening for anime good.
Like I have a question. This raises an overall question about the world. The robot battles are incomprehensible. Has everybody in this world like memorized all the enemy robots? Because they're all unique and different looking. Like it's not like I can be like, oh, I recognize the silhouette. It's like they know each and every named Gundam that exists. The way you might know like the heraldry of all the gentry in Europe.
They have heads-up displays. It's the same way that any American tank gunner or Ukrainian tank gunner would know the silhouette of a T-87 Russian tank or a T-70 Russian tank. They know it inside out, not by like the silhouette.
Those tanks are uniform. Not every Gundam suit is uniform. Every Gundam suit is unique. That's what Matt is saying. So you don't have like a form to go off of to say, oh, this fits that exact form. You would have to essentially like be going off of radio signals that are coming off of the Gundam suits. But my theory is actually this: if you look at the bay of the ship and watching the intro, we see that there is one giant Gundam suit and then like a support spacecraft with missile pods attached to it that's like orange, and I think that's the only Gundams that the ship has. So I think what it is like every ship has like its own unique Gundam with like a backup ship, and when you go into battle, you just waste every other Gundam you see, even if it's your own guys, because it's your ship that you're trying to save. Fuck everybody else.
That's a good theory.
So you're like every Gundam will fight every other Gundam.
Exactly.
Every
Gundam for themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
a really good
every
idea.
mech for themselves.
Except we clearly see on the Triangle Forces ship that they have multiple Gundams in their bay.
Yeah. That's fair.
Also, here's the other thing. Gundams are so like cheap and bullshit in this world. They have them essentially like doing guard duty outside the ship. They show that on the space Q-tip.
Yeah. They're just sort of floating around in space. They're acting as almost like a fighter squadron would for a larger mothership or support ship. Mothership.
Or they're just walking around the launch location. Anyway, we're jumping right ahead.
Okay, so back to floating 3C, floating out of her pod.
Yeah. I call this segment Goofus Has No Game.
Yeah. He grabs her and gently brings her back down to the ground as she's, clearly floating in zero G. Her hair's a wisp and floating, and she notices the emblem on his jacket.
And his
we also
vibrating
have
eyeballs.
Classic, anime trope right here is...
And the lack of triangles in other uniforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have the very cute but annoying sidekick, which just says, hello, good morning, afternoon, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
This was 3C's giant pink anal bead. The electronic anal bead.
Yeah. Her flying sex toy.
/ pet.
I feel like I feel like these are like telepresence sex toys that she uses with evil Goofus. Because you can see on his desk when we go to his room that he has one, but he's taking it apart, probably to clean the semen out of it.
I could see
like
that.
when he is like fucking this robot ball, the other robot ball can feel it.
And that's the reason why the other robot ball is making so many strange noises.
I assume it, in some way this pleases 3C.
Now, I couldn't hear the audio because, but she says, "Oh my, this is something."
Not a Zap ship.
Yeah, not a Zap ship.
Clearly, since we're in episode 8, Zap means something.
Yeah,
there are the Earth forces and the Zaft forces.
And they're fighting each other?
Yes.
And they even say in this episode who the Zaft are.
It stands for Zodiac Alliance of Freedom Treaty.
So she identifies that she's immediately an enemy.
Yes, and instead of putting everybody on guard and getting everybody prepared to put her in some type of restraints and take her to the jail cell and be held hostage, they just sort of smack their faces or hold their heads and shake their heads like, oh, these kids.
It's a real...
Yeah. So we cut to this really cool floating butt plug.
Space Q-tip.
Space Q-tip, butt plug, whatever. I've seen it both ways.
Oh dear.
And we cut to this beautiful city inside the Q-tip, and heavily guarded, keep out military zone, and the first gratuitous shower scene.
Yeah, this is Evil Goofus.
This is a very progressive Gundam in that the first full frontal shower scene is of a dude.
Yeah, but he has no muscle tone. He has nothing to show us.
I did think at first it was supposed to be a woman. So.
Me too, except that he didn't have gigantic boobs, so he couldn't be a woman. It had to be a dude.
He couldn't be a woman
because it's anime.
By anime standards.
Anyway,
yeah. We know, Mike. He's kind of jerking it in the shower to the memory of his distant father, though.
Yeah.
At this point, he gets what I think is one of the most egregious wastes of our time ever. He gets an utterly pointless phone call.
And has to repeat it back.
Then he has to repeat back. Yes, exactly.
It is such a waste of our time, everyone's time on this episode. All of this information could be handled in 2 seconds of exposition in the scene where he's boarding. It's
Yes, but I do have to say, I love this as a little bit of world building, of the what are they called? The controllers, the coordinators.
No, it's the bureaucracy.
Coordinators.
The bureaucracy of the coordinators.
Well, no, it's the bureaucracy of the coordinators, but this actually just shows that the coordinators are they have such horrible short-term memory that they actually have to repeat back the things that are told them just so they can retain it.
Right.
So anything that's officially coming from the military force, they have to repeat it over and over again.
Or maybe it's just that they're so litigious, right? That they've challenged everything in court. And they're like, well, we're coordinators and we're different than you humans. And now the humans are like, okay, say you understand so that we can legally bind this contract. And they're like, all right, fine, I understand.
So then after that tedious scene, we cut back to the... what I want to call interrogation, but it's more like a scene in which to just watch the flappy robot flap around.
Yeah, the flying One Hall.
It's like if it was getting really dark out and your neighbor's kid is in your yard and you're like, what the heck are you doing in the yard? And the neighbor's kid well, my parents aren't home, so you let them into the house and you're like, where are your parents? Why are you just wandering around my yard? What's going on? That's basically what the scene is.
Yeah. And then all the nosy,
okay, let's call your parents.
Neighbors are
Jesus.
are watching through the window and what's going on over here? I heard some kid got caught for being, a deviant and being outside without their parents.
A truant.
In a yard. Yeah. The truant.
Well, we learned that 3C's real name is Lacus Klein. And that she's the daughter of the head of the bad guy forces of Triangle Town.
And
she's also a fucking idiot.
She confirms all this. And it's oh, this is no big deal. What does it
matter?
Nonchalantly. All this?
I mean, I could sort of understand that. First of all, her character is an idiot, and also that that's her world. That is normal for her. But the reaction of the entire senior command is baffling to me.
They're No,
Right.
shake my head.
Instead, they should be like, motherfucker, the end of the war just landed in our lap.
Yes, exactly.
Why isn't there instantly that their thought?
You either, one, put her in the brig and make sure she's well secured, or two, put her in a state's room that locks from the outside so she's very comfortable, but there's no fucking way she's moving.
Yes. And guess what you don't do? You don't let her fucking wander around the ship looking for food. You look after her needs, you see that she's well cared for.
Yeah, you absolutely do not let her walk into the canteen and listen to everyone bad-mouthing her.
And also, you don't fucking let anyone listen at the door. You fucking control information on that shit hard.
You secure every goddamn
the OPSEC
thing.
on this ship is just appalling.
They should go to each of those people that were listening at the door and just be like, okay, you understand you can't talk about this. I'm like, yeah. Like, no, you have to say that you understand.
No, I would make
can't talk about this.
I would
back
make an
what
example.
I told you with the security code.
I would find one of those and float them. I would send them into their airlock and say, this is what happens when you listen to this shit, and you float the motherfucker and let it be a lesson to the rest of them. That's what I
space
do.
them.
Which one of those assholes is like the leader of the group, and you space them while everybody else watches.
I would pick beady-eyed Fivehead to be advised.
Yeah.
So yeah. Absolutely appalling.
So yes,
they're
questioning 3C while everybody's outside the door listening. It's all like sort of done for laughs, but not really like realistic. And then we cut back to the enemy forces, right?
Actually, we get a brief scene, the only scene with Gundam, in which they are harvesting ice.
Yeah.
Oh,
this was like my little This was my little cock tease of like what actual Gundams look like during the entire episode. I'm like, hey Gundam! Oh, it's over. What the?
This was a cold ice cube up Mike's butt.
That's right. The thing that I really enjoyed about this though was not even necessarily the Gundam. It was the environment, like the back painting, like the still painting they had for the environment was really fucking cool. Like this was like some sort of part of space.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Where you had two like large bodies, like large planetoid masses. They're like either colliding or coming close to each other, and there's like reveals of material coming off of the two different bodies connecting each other. It was very cool looking.
This is the debris field around Earth, is what I.
The debris field. That's what they called it. Yeah, I thought it might have been like the debris field, as in like something like the Kuiper belt, the Kupler belt, the Kuiper belt. David, what is it?
Kuiper.
It's called Kuiper? Oh.
Yeah.
Kuiper. Yeah.
Or
how about the Ort Club?
Yeah,
the
S is silent.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, Mike. Fuck your ass.
And then we get Evil Goofus goes to work.
Yes.
Yes. And he goes to work first by talking to his commanding officer, who has reached such a legendary status that he's allowed to wear his Phantom of the Opera mask while flying in the squadron. And this is when I was going to ask...
Why would any fucking military allow someone to wear a mask?
Exactly. This was going to be my question for Derek, if he was here.
Clearly, his face was damaged in a battle, and much like during World War I, when people had to wear masks because their face was mangled through a grenade attack or a flashbang, he clearly suffered some kind of damage to his face, and rather than show his hideously mangled face to, his subordinates and commanding officers, he chose to wear a prosthetic over his face to cover his glorious war battles.
A fucking prosthetic looks like what it's replacing. This looks like he's wearing a goddamn iron butterfly on his forehead.
Yeah, it is a Phantom of the Opera style mask.
Anime.
This is the thing, is since this is anime, we do know that the horrible disfigurement that he has on his face is like a tiny little scratch somewhere.
He's got a Dr. Doom under there.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's letting his doom hang low, if you know what I mean.
The subordinates, as they float by, they salute.
Yeah, all in a line.
They're just in a line. They salute as they float by.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Also, like they operate in 0G. Like they are so lax on their regulations. I have to imagine that long hair in 0G is a goddamn nightmare.
Oh yeah. This made me think a lot of the Expanse.
Everybody's head.
Yeah. This made me think a lot about the Expanse. I was like, well, they can get away with this this half-assed 0G with mag boots in an anime because it's an anime. But in the Expanse, in order to make it all work and make it seem like they're actually using magnetic boots to get around, everybody with long hair has to have it braided very tightly and then pinned to the side of their head.
Yeah.
But then that also makes sense operational.
It makes sense.
If you're gonna have long hair, you want to do something with it so it's not floating all over the fucking place.
Well, that, and also having long hair means there's loose long hair floating around your cabin. So
eventually it's gonna garrot your dick.
Or distracting people at the wrong time. Yeah. It is.
Could you imagine taking a really deep breath, saying, "God, this day sucks," and sucking in a long ass hair, someone else's hair, and you're like,
you're you fucking mask wearing motherfucker.
But all I gotta say is, you guys that have hair that cooperates, maybe, I don't know. I use Aussie Instant Freeze, and that shit fucking works. You put it in your hair and your hair doesn't move. You could stab someone in the eye with your hair if you put Instant Freeze.
You know those people who have hair?
Are you theorizing that that's what all of these folks in the future in the Gundam world have? Everybody that's got long hair, the reason why it's not moving is because literally they just have it plastered, so it's like a helmet essentially that they're just wearing over their head.
They have hair helmets. They put on Aussie Instant Freeze Mousse.
For a quick fix, Aussie's got just the ticket. Add some roux to your do.
And they apply it after their spray-on showers. And they liberally apply it, and then their hair doesn't move, and it's always perfect, because in the future, everything is fucking perfect.
Everything is rigid.
ZAF regulations have got to be the ZAF regulations is you either have to maintain a buzz cut or shaved head, or you have to have 2 pounds of product in your hair, and they weigh everybody's head each morning when they come in to make sure they have the regulation amount of product. This is what we find out. Flay will not take food to a quote-unquote coordinator. And this is the first time we learn about coordinators.
Yes, and a very important thing that Flay says about coordinators. Coordinators are gifted. Not only do they have heightened reflexes, but they have other gifts.
Do you guys know that taboo is actually a Japanese word?
Oh, yeah? Is it? I didn't realize.
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Okay. Did you guys know that I could bring this podcast to a screeching halt?
Did you know that mac and cheese was actually invented by the Egyptians?
Yes, I did know that. I saw it on Moon Knight. This is essentially the conflict that the entire episode is built around. This is the heart of the story we're telling here. And the stakes are only heightened when in the middle of this intense scene, 3C just walks in.
Dun, dun, dun.
Luckily, we get a commercial break. We don't go completely insane from the intensity.
Taboo just means forbidden in Japanese.
Yes. Okay.
So.
Yeah. What happens when we get back, Mike, from the commercial break?
We have 3C walking into this very tense scene in the cantina.
Well, we get a short scene in between that.
Yeah.
Of the senior staff talking on the bridge, or what I assume is the bridge.
Well, also, effeminate protagonist has this flashback to some Gundam battle that we haven't seen.
That was before
jumping in.
Yeah. A superfluous, useless flashback. But the conversation, the crux of the conversation that the senior crew on the ship are having is basically along the lines of, should we involve this girl that's the daughter of the head of ZAF in combat no, we shouldn't. But wait, we did already involve Kira, and that's when we find out that the dude that's got no game is essentially a coordinator that they sort of picked up randomly in their space travels, who had the ability to control a Gundam suit, so they basically just put him to work fighting on the front line of the battle against his own people. Which makes no fucking sense to me.
He's been essentially press ganged into serving on the ship.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is Age of Sail shit right here.
Yeah, we picked you up, we saved you, therefore serve us. It makes complete sense if you actually think about the historical use of press gang. Matt makes a really good point there.
Thank you, Mike. I feel like you're being sarcastic, but
I'm actually being genuinely like
supportive by repeating exactly what you
said.
Yeah.
He's being just the way I sound. Sorry if it sounds sarcastic.
Well, that leads me into what is happening in this scene, and they basically have accusation exposition or accusation.
Ooh, did you just come up with that by yourself?
Yes, this is where characters bitchily state the plot to each other.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is the only thing that we have to go off of at this point in time, because we haven't seen anything else before this. So, really all we've come to the conclusion of, this is a bunch of, like, really catty queens running an army that just, like, are super ineffective and require children to fight their fights for them.
Run the machinery.
It's a bunch of children in space, which ironically is the same thing as what it was back when I was, in the missile force. It was a bunch of second lieutenants running around in charge of nuclear weapons. It was it was like 22-year-olds in charge of, the U.S.'s nuclear fleet, but there's so many safeguards and automated systems in place that not even an idiot or malicious actor could do anything.
They're just babies nuking babies, am I right?
Do you remember War Games, Mike?
Yes, God, there's not a Missileer in existence that doesn't know War Games, because it's the only thing we can compare it to.
Okay, so that first scene in War Games, where
you don't actually have guns, and you don't say "turn your key."
Turn your key, sir.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there because I'm a little touchy about this. But yes, go ahead. Maybe you were talking about something else.
No. That was the exact scene I was talking about. But my real question was, like, how realistic was that? Like, how realistic do you think it would be that, like, you and one other Missileer would have to, like, make these decisions, and you were just like, fuck it, we're not going to do that. We're not nuking Iran.
Maybe in the 80s, back when there were actually guns in the capsules, that might have been the case when you just didn't know what the hell was going on out there. But in this day and age, there's TVs down in the capsule. So if there was ever a nuclear launch order, nearly every Missileer would turn on the TV and be like, what the fuck's going on right now? They'd turn to CNN or Fox News or MSNBC
okay.
or I don't know,
so
whatever.
It would be relatively realistic. It would be like, we got the order to launch the nukes. And, like, as soon as you get the order, you're like, what the fuck? No. I'm gonna confirm this.
Wait,
with, like,
what's going on? I'm going to turn on the
first.
TV. And
let me check Facebook.
So there's different scenarios, and without going classified, there's the situation where if you had to launch everything, then that means that chances are that we're being launched at by everything that Putin has to offer. But if it's like one or two missiles, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Because if you're launching like one or two missiles, it would mean that there's like a rogue state, like, for example, like Iran or North Korea doing something, but you wouldn't use your ICBM fleet because ICBMs are ballistic. There's no abort code, there's nothing like in the movies. When you launch that fucker, it's gone. It's like you're throwing a rock. You can't take back the rock once you throw it. So any scenario where you would need to go against a rogue state or just a random target, or you would use a bomber because they're more flexible. You could call back a bomber, you could recall it, you could do whatever. So the ICBMs
they're like dialing out the bomber, and they're like, "Oh, your air filters have been They've been recalled. Better come back and get them replaced.
I've seen
like that.
Yeah, kind
I've
of
seen
like
Doctor
that.
Strangelove. I know how that works.
So yeah,
somebody just rides the
bombers
nuke down.
And yeah, they kick the bomb off and they ride it all the way down. So the bombers would go first, and like your ICBMs would be like the last resort if Putin just goes absolutely batshit crazy and decides to launch all of his nukes at the United States and climbs down to his bunker and says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna survive this shit." And then your subs are your last. Like they're the most survival aspect. So after World War III, any remaining forces would be taken out by the subs because they could dive down deep, they can hide for years, pretty much, and would pop back up and snuff out any last remaining forces, assuming that the United States government survives, and they haven't escaped to like Martha's Vineyards or some place that isn't going to get nuked. Like South America.
My question
that's the most unrealistic part about war games is when you look at the simulated launches and it shows every country firing off nukes against everyone else. They don't realize anything south of the equator, they don't have nukes. So the safest place in the world to be during a nuclear exchange is like Chile or like Patagonia, because no one's going to fucking nuke South Africa or Buenos Aires or...
I might.
Maybe South Africa. Maybe South Africa.
Maybe South Africa. But maybe Australia. But Thailand is not going to get nuked or send off nukes. So the whole concept of a global nuclear exchange is kind of stupid. It's like France and the United States and Russia... and maybe Israel might get involved. Maybe they might say, fuck it, we're going to be like Switzerland and stay the fuck out of this. And then because of the Coriolis effect, most of the nuclear fallout would stay in the northern hemisphere. Very little would filter down. There might be some nuclear winter effects, but your safest place to be is like, fucking go to Chad or Nigeria, because not a fucking thing is going to go on in Africa, because they're going to stay out of it, and they don't have nukes. So no one's going to nuke them.
I might nuke the Sahara just to see if the edges get bigger.
Well, it would turn to glass, and then you'd have like the largest glass factory in the world. You could like make all
cool.
Yeah, you could just like skate on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I would make so many bongs. We cut back to the heart of their episode, man. It's so tense in this room. You could cut it with some sort of sharp claw or knife or something.
A spoon.
Or like one of those.
Honed
no, you could cut it with one of those knives that is like a lightsaber, where you could make toast. Like if you slice bread, you could actually make toast with it. Because that's what I would do with a lightsaber. I'm a total Hufflepuff. I would totally use a lightsaber to make toast with slicing bread.
It's unfathomable.
It's
unfathomable.
I can't fathom it.
Please stop your fathoming.
I can't even fathom how much toast I'd make with a lightsaber.
But here is this crux of this episode. Everything turns on this hinge, everybody. That is that Cotton Candy Curtains is hungry.
And she wandered out of her fucking open door cell.
Yes. And she wanders in the canteen, and we learn a couple things: that she is what they call a coordinator. People don't like coordinators.
And Feisty Redhead is, of course, the feistiest of them all.
Yeah, or Pinkhead, kind of.
No, she's red.
Oh, I guess you would know.
Yes.
Wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. She's
and we also learned the Zaft forces are short for Zodiac Alliance of Freedom Treaty, which makes me think they like run their government with fucking crystals and feelings
and codexes and like Zodiac. Like
what they're really trying to do is they're trying to paint them as like the Nazis versus the regular Germans, because like the princess is like, oh, I am a coordinator, but I'm not part of ZAF. So I'm just a
a soldier,
relatively good guy. I'm not part of the regime that's trying to kill all humans.
At any rate, Flay is crazy racist. against coordinators.
And this is actually where they explain, right, that coordinators are really just sort of genetically enhanced humans, basically, for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're better in poorly described ways.
Yes.
So it's almost like as in like Battlestar Galactica, except they're not robots. They're just
it's more like Gattaca.
More like Gattaca, exactly.
Okay.
Wow, so deep.
So deep.
So Goofus has to take 3C to her room.
This is when I really got the impression that essentially this is all actually just the part of Star Trek that we never got to see, the eugenic wars, basically, from Star Trek.
Yes.
So, essentially, 3C is Khan, the weirdo guy with no game. No. That's like Kirk, and the little pink robot anal bead thing is Spock.
Yeah, that makes sense. Metaphor completely stands up. Holds up.
Excellent.
Who's the Klingon? Is that the beady-eyed five-head guy?
There weren't any Klingons in Wrath of Khan.
In TOS, yes.
Well, what about Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Who's like the seedy trader guy?
You mean
Quark?
Yeah. Probably the guy with the mask.
I like it.
Quark.
Let's go with it. All right. And then we get to the best part of the episode, which is the commercial cutscene, where we actually get to see another Gundam.
Jesus, no, we're already past the commercial cutscene. Okay.
No, there was another one.
Oh my God.
Where we get to see Gundam see this gigantic fucking sword just like coming at you. Like if this was 3D, it would like be poking you in the forehead and it's like glowing and it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Better is like the bubble blowing scene where
Evil Goofus
is blowing bubbles and Triple C is like spinning around in circles and looking super kawaii.
Yeah.
In like a field, like in a meadow of clover or something.
Yeah, a meadow of like the greenest grass that you could ever see in like Ireland or something.
Yeah.
At any rate, that's why, and because of this, Goofus has to take 3C to her room.
And he is carrying. So one thing I liked about probably the only thing I like about what we see in this particular episode is the detail that they put into looking at like life in space. You see like guys floating around, you see like the magnetic boots, you see people drinking out of containers that have specifically like straws or self-contained liquids. But then you see Goofus walking around with a tray of food with like loose fucking peas in it, just walking in the zero-G environment like it's nothing.
With an open tray.
Exactly.
Like a grade school lunch tray.
You could see the hallways slanted, which means that they're in a centrifugal
Slightly
force
gravity.
ring right now.
That's right.
So
Good point.
Yeah.
Good
so
point,
anything that is in contact with the ring will maintain the centrifugal force and will maintain gravity. If you took one of those peas and threw it up in the air, it would continue to float along its trajectory, but would also fall because it maintains it's physics. It's simple physics, guys.
It's P physics.
It's simple P physics. It's P physics 101 or P physics as I call it.
And all along the sides of this hallway, there's just big signs that say "No food beyond this ring."
Yeah.
And also, all along the floor of this hallway is just peas. There's peas everywhere inside this hallway.
Nothing but peas.
Because as people are walking to the hallway, the peas are just sort of floating along with them, and then they hit the hallway and they just hit the ground. So it's just filled with food and feces.
Yeah.
It's
Haven't you ever wondered why physics starts with the letter P? It's because they actually had to account for the P in physics. Otherwise, it used to be just
for all the P's.
Later versions of this same ship model from the Earth forces will just have pea gutters running along the sides of the main thoroughfare, which just filled and littered with peas.
And the coolest part is it's like a marble run where all those peas will run along and they would get picked up by little pea ladders and they would go through little pegs and they would knock over dominoes And eventually they would they would like open a door or something like that.
No, eventually the peas would find their way right back to the mess hall where they could be reserved back to the rest of the crew.
Reserved.
So,
Well,
This is what they think hydroponics is in the future.
Let's be honest, it'd be the enlisted troops that got those, not the officers.
Yeah, exactly.
The enlisted troops, the recycled peas. The officers. Did you know that French onion soup was actually just a leftover broth and onions from the roasted meats that the officers got? All the enlisted troops got the leftover broth and onions served as a soup with just bread.
I did not know that. Sounds very
and
tasty.
I'm not
though.
mansplaining that to you. I'm
No,
just
you're not. You're
giving
not.
you a little bit of
He
historical
just happens
context.
to be a man who is explaining things to you.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's a lot
I
like
consider
how French roast coffee
mansplaining-
is actually like the dregs of coffee. That's
It was the
we used to
burnt-
call it. Exactly.
Yeah, it was burnt
Again,
leftovers.
We are a microcosm of the culture. The French glorify garbage. The culture glorifies garbage. We are garbage.
And hence, anime is a glorification of Japanese garbage.
At any rate, they have a moment.
So
I
are you saying
love it.
Gundam Seed is like French roast coffee?
Absolutely, and I'll drink that shit any day. give it to me in a fucking gallon container. I'll drink it up with French onion soup because I love anime.
They have a moment where Goofus admits that he is also a coordinator to 3C.
And this is when we get the most enigmatic line of this entire fucking episode, which I feel like I really need to use this line on somebody just to see like what their honest to goodness reaction would be. And it's when 3C says to Goofus, "I know now the reason why you're kind. It's because you are you."
Okay, here's the thing. That doesn't happen now. That happens in a completely pointed flashback 2 scenes from now.
Oh shit. Wait, that was a flashback?
on,
This is a
Adam.
flashback.
Jesus fucking
This is a
Christ. This whole
flashback to
goddamn
this
episode.
scene.
Fuck me. This fucking episode.
You could still use it on someone. We're not gonna take
No,
that away.
I still
between-
will. I still will, yeah.
In between this, we get the scene where this bridge gets a broke ass message from another Earth vessel,
yeah. From the 8th Fleet, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
and then we get this travesty of a scene where Goofus has a buddy.
Oh, yeah.
He steps out of Cotton Candy Curtin's room, and we get to hear her horrible singing.
Yeah.
Sucks so bad.
So this is one of those
Yes.
scenes where I
Yeah,
feel like
everyone.
the Japanese version would have been better.
Probably.
Like,
Sure.
I
could see that.
This is the.
Not even Japanese could save this.
This is the musical interlude translated into English, and something got lost.
And run through a
in
synthesizer.
translation,
Yeah.
and run through.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, English dub people, voice actors, whatever you call yourselves, we're paying you pennies. Who wants to sing?
It was like, yeah,
And,
voice actors.
she's
Who
like,
wants to
"Oh,
sing?
I can do
And
it."
somebody was like, I don't want to sing because I can't sing worth shit. And they're like, excellent, you do the singing. We're going to auto-tune you to make it seem like it's something real. And then it just sounds like garbage anyway.
Meanwhile, I can understand why Flay is scared of these, because 3C is fucking staring at the wall, eyes completely wide, unblinking,
Just glazed
singing
over.
terrible K-pop to herself.
And there's comment from other officers or other crew members that are
J-pop,
talking
by the
about
way.
how beautiful the singing is. And somebody says,
they're all
yeah,
brainwashed.
she's probably genetically engineered to sound like that. In the meantime, she's doing like it's auto-tuned, but she's also like adding reverb, and like there's like dual singing, and there's like a
That's called
like a-
vibrato.
there's a drum track going in the background as well that's coming from nowhere, except for that's all from her
Don't-
voice
Yeah.
box. Yeah,
Maybe it's coming from her
1,000
flying
yards
Onohol.
her Inobead Onohol.
How do you pronounce it?
I don't-
Onohol?
Onihol?
Yeah,
Onohol.
Onohol.
Onohol. Hey,
Onohol.
hey, I want to back up here. I want
You want to
I wanna
fully
step
back
back
up
here.
and fuck yourself?
I want to step back because it's J-pop, not K-pop.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
Yeah, Matt.
it-
really
How
did.
dare you?
It's not
You really
fucking
taught me a lesson.
Korean. It's Japanese.
Yeah, you really cut me to the quick there.
Son of a bitch.
God, you know how much that hurts dogs to cut them. Cut their quick. Oh my God, it's
Pretty
like,
fucking bad. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh God,
Bleeding all over
I
the
feel
place?
like every.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I've never felt worse than cutting a dog to the quick. So like that comment actually really
Cut you to the quick?
hits home. It cut me to the quick. It's harsh, man, harsh.
At any rate, Cotton Candy Curtains, we learn, is also kind of a racist, because I think that line that you pointed out, Adam, is essentially racism.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's racist the other way. She thinks that coordinators are inherently superior.
Well, the coordinators are inherently more kind. They're better natured, is what she's thinking. She's thinking that the filthy human mongrels don't have the means of understanding proper emotions that the coordinators have, and therefore must be exterminated, because otherwise they will dilute the coordinator population with their horrific inability to feel properly. That's the
they've been
subtext.
touched by
The impurity.
yeah, they've been touched by filthy evolution, and they need to be corrected.
I was touched by filthy evolution once.
So I have
She's
a
my
quick
favorite
question here.
stripper.
I had to call an adult.
I have a quick question here. Goofus's buddy, who's like the blonde-haired guy with tinted glasses, is he also a coordinator? Because I feel like there were like a few coordinator characters that were supposed to be on the ship besides Goofus.
I don't think so, because he says he'll go talk to Flay later. He's acting like a go-between between Goofus and Flay.
Okay. I did watch this episode multiple times, but there are still things that like I really didn't understand because I just didn't really like pay close enough attention. The whole conversation between evil Goofus and the Phantom of the Gundam, where they're talking about like going to try to save 3C, and like
The Phantom of the Gundam is my favorite. Go on,
guys. If my eyes ever like move the way that anime eyes do, I want you to call 911 immediately.
No, it's called nostalgia.
Where they like vibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Just call 911 because I must be having a seizure or like some kind of like brain hemorrhage.
So the whole context that we get at the ending of this episode is the 8th Fleet is coming to join up with the rest of the fleet. The Fiery Redhead's father, who runs the 8th Fleet, is coming to the rescue. This ship was obviously like more of a refugee ship or like a light combat ship that got separated from the rest of the fleet, and they're just sort of like picking up stragglers from wherever they're going. So there's actually a civilian population on the ship that needs to like be rescued by the rest of the human military force, and that the characters that run the Gundam suits, or Goofus is a coordinator, and then they have the coordinator, the head coordinator's daughter on the ship, or the head of Zap's daughter on the ship. So we go through the end credits.
She also gets fucking called on her bullshit.
I feel like this is like a high school ship that got accidentally called into war.
It kind of
Like,
is. I feel like this is probably like
a bunch of teenagers, and they're haphazard like caretakers.
I think you're absolutely right. I feel like this ship was like, it was supposed to be at like the very tail end of the fleet, and the captain of the ship was like the guy that's got 3 DUIs, but the Admiralty didn't really want to fire yet, so they just sort of like gave him some shitty ass ship to go fly.
This is L. Ron Hubbard in the Navy.
There was a whole anime based on like based on like high school kids that got sent off to the far ends of the universe and then had to like find a mobile suit and like fight off enemies. And I feel like this is like the inspiration to that anime. It's like, hey, let's have a whole bunch of kids that are like on a ship and they fight bad guys. And just as the episode starts to get good and they're alluding to stuff, yeah, it cuts to the credits.
Well, we get a scene where evil origami butterfly mask sets the stage for an ambush next episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
the
3C
Phantom of the
talking
Gundam.
to a robot.
Yes.
Phantom of the Gundam. I love it. I'm the Phantom of the Gundam.
He's really slow on these.
And I'm here to fly a robot.
Oh God!
Again, the hair. All of the bad guys. Like we see another Triangle Force person with terrible mutton chops.
Oh.
They all have terrible hair. They're like cutting it with like a USB fan, basically.
Mutton chops are on parade. Masquerade.
Wait.
Turn around. There's another Gundam behind you.
I would have liked this more.
On the Phantom of the Gundam Sea. Oh, God. I need to learn Phantom of the Opera first, but obviously, I've got some work to do. Clearly. So.
Finally, we close on 3C talking to her sex toy, Haru, about fucking nothing.
The best part of this episode is the preview for the next episode. And in the preview of the next episode, we learn every single goddamn thing that's going to happen in that episode. The ship that we're seeing right now is going to reform with the 8th Fleet. When they reform with the 8th Fleet, the evil guys are going to show up and they're going to ambush them. The evil Goofus is going to get orders to fire on the ship that has the princess on it. And he's going to decide not to kill 3C, so he's not going to fire on that ship, but rather fire on the 8th Fleet ship. He's going to wind up destroying that ship and killing the fiery redhead's father, causing her to have a panicked moment of tearful regret. And then they're eventually going to be able to fight off the other ship by Goofus going into action and jumping in his Gundam suit and warding off the bad guy ship, and then they're going to fly off into the distance.
Ooh, I'm so titillated.
You know what? I don't trust them.
You don't trust the preview?
No, they've literally done 2 Gundam battles so far in this whole series probably, and they just cut in splices of those 2 Gundam battles. They're but they never say next episode. They don't make any promises. They just show you.
Point. So really,
this might happen.
This is Gigantor finding the giant squid, just being shot over and over again with different backgrounds.
Right. Yeah. In reverse.
This is Goku finally beating Cell, but we're not sure how many episodes ahead that actually happens.
I don't know what you're talking about there. What's a Goku?
Mike, we haven't seen any cartoons except for the cartoons we're watching right now. These are the only cartoons that we know.
What is a Cell?
A Cell is a
Show me your Dragon Balls.
The smallest. I was going to get into a biology lesson, but it's okay.
Thank you. What did we think of this hot garbage pile?
Well, let's do our next segment, which is a new segment that I would like to call our anime checklist.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, I like this.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
Me too.
Anime checklist.
Can David say check in a super sarcastic way after every time?
Oh, absolutely. I was looking for someone to say check.
Yeah.
So, David, you get the job of check, okay?
Okay.
All right. So.
No, that's not the right answer. What's the right answer?
Check.
No, with more disdain in your voice. Let's just really hear the seething.
I felt a lot of disdain.
Let's hear the real
Yeah.
Check.
Well, go ahead and start with your list and earn it.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
okay.
Right.
All right. Amazingly Terrible's anime checklist. Number 1, effeminate main character.
Check.
Nice.
Wispy young looking girl with random colored hair.
Check.
Cute but annoying sidekick.
Oh, check. God damn that little horror thing.
Was it cute though? Was it cute?
Was it? Well, it did say hello, me.
Yeah, that's the
If it was mute, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, we all have our opinions, but let's
Hammer to the voice box.
Yes. All right. Masked pretty boy.
Check.
All right. Fierce redhead.
Check a Rooney.
Fierce
I
redhead.
guess I wasn't watching that closely.
well, she only got angry. There's only one redhead, and the
Yeah.
only scene that she
fiery
was in was
redhead.
like
You
fiery-
were watching
fiery
the
redhead.
emotional heart of this episode, David. You missed the crux on which this whole yarn turns.
You missed the. She wants to eat food, but everybody's too scared to feed her.
Oh, her.
Oh.
Wait, what was the question?
Fierce or fiery redhead.
Check.
Musical J-pop interlude translated into crappy English.
Check.
Double check.
That about does that episode.
I have one more for you. The promise of action
Okay.
during a nothing episode.
Yeah, unfulfilled.
What,
Unfulfilled action, yes.
okay, I guess it could be on the checklist. I mean, yeah. David?
Yeah.
Check.
I could probably add egregious flashbacks.
And
egregious
implied
flashbacks,
nudity. Let's
yeah.
add this to
In the intro there, yeah.
implied nudity at some point in the episode.
I feel like
a undertrained
the only
child has a special connection to a giant robot for seemingly no reasons.
Check.
Overpowered character that shouldn't be overpowered in any normal stretch of the imagination.
I didn't see any real display of power.
Not in
There
this
you go.
episode. So
Yeah.
So we have the checklist, but it's unfulfilled as of this episode.
I feel like the only anime trope that the show doesn't have is like intergalactic steam train. Does that get a check, David?
You know what? I think it does because there was like a scene between the escape pod and the room they were holding her in where they were on some sort of monorail.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That is
So I
true.
think-
So
Yes.
I think those two big like tubes on the front of the ship like are launchers to launch Gundams out of, and they're essentially like a ride that the Gundam riders go down. Whee!
Now, obviously doesn't apply to
It's a
this
slide.
episode, but to add to the checklist, some form of tentacle.
ooh, no check.
No check.
Hmm.
No tentacles.
Let me think about that.
Well, in the scene where they show the Gundam being shot down the tube, there is like a tether to the back of it that looks tentacle-ish.
I saw that.
disengages at
It's
the last second.
close. Let's say it's an honorable mention, but it's not a check.
No, that's there's no
It's
that's classic power cord coming off.
yeah, classic power cord. Classic power cord.
Chris Pratt.
Classic. All right.
Check.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, do we have a scene where a power cord comes off?
Check. Oh, check. Check. No, David, you do it better. Just do it.
Check.
Gives me chills.
I know. This ASMR right there.
I think there's a
Asmar.
David's just disdain is just ASMR for my ears.
How about the outro and intro to and from commercial being of scenes that
Absolutely
are
no
very
bearing?
yeah, absolutely no bearing to the story and inexplicable to like what the characters are actually doing.
I like it. We're gonna do the anime checklist every time. I'll keep this in my.
No, I
we're
like this.
gonna have this anytime we do an anime. We're gonna do the anime checklist because it's the only thing that will help alleviate the tediousness of whatever anime we get subjected to watch. And I know I picked this, but it's because there's very few anime that we ever had back in the 80s because it didn't make its way to America until the 90s.
Well, no,
From the
fairness.
80s?
This
No,
is from
this
the early
is even
2000s.
No.
to the 80s.
It was like
No.
2002,
I
so-
mean, it was 2002,
But yeah.
2001 through 2003. But just in general, we're not going to have anime from the 80s. I mean, we have Ninja Scroll.
That's not on the list.
we don't have the Star Blazers or Battleship Yamato. So-
It exists. It didn't make its way to syndicated TV that we could be subjected to on a Saturday morning.
Well, we do have. I think we have like Speed Racer, and we have Lupin the Third, and we have I
Sure,
think,
Voltron.
Oh,
yeah, we got Voltron. Yeah.
And
sure
what was the one
wait,
with
do we have Robotech on here too?
puppets?
Yeah.
What was the Thunderbirds? God.
We
That's
have
not
that
an
on
anime.
here. That's puppets, and I think we
That's
actually
puppets.
might be
It's
doing
puppets,
that soon.
but it. I mean, that was
Starfleet
Japanese, though,
Bomber
right?
X. That's the one. No,
It's a
Thunderbirds,
whole different checklist, Mike.
No,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I kind of like the
But
idea
yeah.
of you writing this checklist out so we can actually refer back to it whenever we do animes. So we're actually like doing this.
Oh, I
every
wrote
week.
it. It is written down, so I.
Okay.
It's not
well,
like in my
add
head.
it to
No,
the
forgotten.
amazingly terrible spreadsheet.
I feel like we need to make it into bingo cards.
Ooh, that might
We
be.
should turn
Oh,
into a
I like
board
that. Anime bingo. That's great. I like that a lot.
The anime checklist will be here to stay anytime we do anime.
Excellent.
Okay.
I feel like we should also use it every now and again when we're not doing anime. Just for something that hits all those checkpoints that's not anime. So we can then say it's anime.
Yeah.
So then, do we have to say like not check in like with great disdain?
I feel like
No.
the new section
Or
is
really-
called "Is it anime?" And if you get enough checks, you're an anime.
There we go.
I like it.
I like it.
Sounds good. Well, here's another lesser used segment of our show.
Okay.
Under what circumstances would you force your children to watch this?
Not lesser used. That's every episode.
No.
No,
This is assuming
It's slightly
that
different phrasing.
you're not going
Yeah.
to let your kids watch this. So, in what circumstances would you force your kids to watch this?
I missed the subtlety of that. Okay.
Here's the thing, like, it would not be effective. It would not hold their attention. I could not rely on it to remove the terror of child rearing from me.
This episode is incredibly boring. So there's not enough pew pew. There's nothing. There's
No bang bangs.
no flashy screens. There's no like seizure-inducing flashing screen. There's nothing to
No
hold
baby
their
shark.
attention for this. For
There's no splodes.
like
That's why it's phrased as force your children
Yeah,
to watch this.
this-
What would they have to do in order
As
to
a
receive
punishment.
this episode as a punishment?
so. To be honest, as a complete honest answer is if they were vested in the series from episodes 1 through 7, they would suffer through this episode to get to the next episode of Pew Pew Bang Bang. Like that's the
Your
only.
poor kids. Oh my god,
Like,
what have
if-
you done to them?
If they actually got into Gundam because they like robots, like I could see them being forced to watch this episode to get through the fluff to the next episode, which seems more exciting. Would I have them watch the entire series? Only if Mobile Suit Gundam Seed is some part of a greater arc of Gundam that they're interested
It's not like-
in.
Seed and I think 00 are the two series that take place in a different universe
Cool.
from the other series.
I would not make my children watch this.
I love learning that what we watched was even more pointless than what we already know. I love that it doesn't contribute to our canon.
It's non-canon.
This is like alternate universe Spider-Man.
This is a non-canon series.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
It's like the writers were pissing on my face, and then they came along and pissed on my face more.
I don't even want to comment on that. All right, the rest of you guys. I made my peace with this episode. What do you think about subjecting your children to it?
I just said I wouldn't. I don't think it would be effective. So, in that way, I would. There's almost no circumstances.
Adam?
I don't have kids.
These
I
future...
don't remember. I'm the creepy uncle of the group. I'm not the father.
Okay. So if you ever have children, you would never, ever subject them to this.
If I ever had kids, I would probably raise them inside of a black box, inside of a cave, so they don't have any access to the outside world until they're fully matured without any type of information being implanted into their brain. And then I would force them to watch every cartoon in the world all at once through a mega screen wall of televisions. And then afterwards I would have the first conversation they've ever had in their entire life, just to see exactly what media does to a untrained mind.
I thought you were going to raise them in a box so that they would grow up into a cube like a Japanese watermelon.
God.
Exactly.
Adam,
But if I had two of them, though, I'd put one in a Skinner box, and then I'd...
The first one is Cube Baby.
Cube Baby.
It's Cube Baby. The first one's Cube Baby.
Second is
You would raise your kids in Seattle public schools, and they would.
The second one, I would actually
up,
continuously have traveling all around the world and only get exposed to a piece of culture every 5 seconds, essentially, before they have to go back on the plane. And see what that does to them. But no, I'm not having kids. Jesus Christ. The only way I'm gonna have kids is if I adopt an older child that needs a home, But
An
I'm not
elder
having
child.
kids. Yeah, like a kid that's like a preteen or teenager. Everybody wants the cute baby.
You pick them up at the most ostentatious time.
Mid-40s, yeah. I'm probably gonna adopt. So.
Well, why don't you just adopt a cat at that point? Because if you're gonna adopt a mid-40s child, you might as well have a cat.
I don't know.
I've got two
mid-40s.
dogs, so.
Mid-40s children are good earners.
It's true.
Unless they're not.
It's true.
They could just be sitting in their room, on Reddit all day long.
I mean, they're earning more than my stupid fucking 2-year-old.
You need to put her to work.
Good points.
At least they're farming karma. I mean, Jesus.
Karma. Fucking hell. All right. Okay. All right. Our next our next segment. Would you let your parents listen to this episode?
This episode of the podcast?
Yes. This is the
No. I live in constant horror that they might.
This is the segment that I talked about the last time that I was present during a podcast, and I said this is going to be a new segment. Is would you let your significant other, your parent, your sibling, your somebody important to you listen to this particular podcast?
I mean, the answer is always no.
I don't know. There could be some wholesome podcasts that we might.
For me, the answer is always going to be yes. I can't force my wife to listen to this. She just won't do it. So I try. When she's falling asleep at night, I'll put headphones on her, and she immediately snaps awake and knocks them
little
off.
AirPods.
Yeah.
You got the super to replace the music in the elevator.
Exactly.
You got to do AirPods because they're less intrusive. So you can just stick one in her ear, and she'll subliminally absorb all of our shit all through the night.
And then for my mom, I just go up to my mom going, "Mommy, look what I made. Listen to it. Listen to all of it." That's my friend Matt making a joke about boobs. And yes, we're talking 3 hours about Mike's foreskin. Deal with it.
Be proud about poo-poo.
This is what I do, Mother. This is what I do.
At least this isn't our only source of income. Is it?
For now.
Income.
Income, and that's
income.
This is outcome.
Outcome.
This is net loss.
This is the outcome of all of our years of depravity.
Oh, God.
David, what is our next segment?
David, what is our next segment?
I like it. Well, I don't. Well, who cares what you don't like? I care.
So, should we keep this show on the list?
Oh, dear God.
Okay, hear me out, guys.
No.
We watched the Power episode, or what's happening on Namek. We need to find out what happens next. Jikai, next time on Gundam Mobile Seed.
I do not give a shit.
See,
how do you give shits? Do you
Adam just did it to his mom.
I made poo-poo.
Ask him.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I can see.
So hear me out on this.
Okay.
No.
We watched the absolute perfect episode for Amazingly Terrible, in that it was a flaming piece of garbage that involved nothing to the plot line, most likely. We learned nothing. We felt nothing. We're walking away with nothing. This is such a perfect episode for us that it kind of feels like we should watch it again, just so we could try to get the next
Structurally,
episode.
it seems important because this is when both sides of this conflict have actually met in person.
Oh, yes. It wasn't on the battlefield.
That's so deep.
Yes.
But the episode was still shit.
Yes.
I feel like I'm feeling a whole new level.
I'm feeling like that little stirring in my loins, like right before you take a huge dump.
Those are worms.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are prostate worms.
You should get those checked out.
At any rate, my vote is to keep it because it is
Check it
amazingly
out.
terrible garbage. So
This is in line with what we deserve. Honestly,
Don't say that. You'll make Fat change his mind.
you're taking the Matt stance. Yeah. You're
This is
taking
our
the Matt
bread and
stance.
fucking butter. This is horrible episodes that we're meant. This is what we were stuck on that space station to watch, like in Mystery Science Theater 2000.
I don't know. I feel like Mike is negging us. Like the whole time he put this on the list, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's so bad," and then he's like, "Oh yeah, we deserve it. This is good for us." I feel like he's been pursuing this agenda all episode.
Oh, you're assuming that I have any kind of agenda at all other than chaos.
Well, no, this is great. The whole point of Mike was basically playing the long con. The whole point of the whole Amazingly Terrible podcast is just for us to basically watch this one anime series from start to finish. So he's always going to try to vote to keep it on here. We're just going to watch it out of order.
We're gonna go back to episode 1.
Yeah, he's like, I'll take what I can get.
So
Someone else to witness this.
Here's what I say.
Mecha is not my favorite anime.
I want to keep this episode. But I want to keep this episode with the caveat of when we roll it again to watch it next, and we have to choose, instead of randomly rolling, we're choosing the next episode. We do not watch the episode before or after this, but rather the episode that's either before that or like 2 more episodes in. That way we're skipping
your esoteric rules.
Because this means we're skipping over all of the action. We're only going to the episodes.
Oh, you're operating under... You're operating under the theory that it goes like good episode, shit episode,
exactly.
Good episode. It's
like you have an action episode, you have an action episode, you have an exposition episode, you have an action episode, you have an exposition episode. So we only watch the exposition episodes.
I think it's more like I think it's more structured like this: action episode, shit, series finale.
You might be right. I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to mecha anime and action anime like this, you're pretty much on point. It's like season opener, action, shit, season closer.
So Adam, you want to keep it?
I want to keep it. I'm saying keep it.
Yeah, that's what I'm fucking talking about.
I told you that was his agenda.
I don't even care really, but I just want to be right.
Right into his sticky hands.
I just want to be right once, and this is my moment. So, fuck you guys.
Be right. I don't care if it's
I'm
for the wrong
gonna,
thing and for the wrong reasons.
I'm gonna take my W.
I really don't think that
I don't even like
serial series like this are very good for
Amazingly Terrible
reviewing.
Yeah.
I think they're funny because we come in we hate everything because we come in halfway into the story and we think we don't understand, but in fact there's very little to understand.
Yeah. Or we make shit up to try to fill in all the gaps that aren't actually there. We're just not actually thinking about it at all.
You know, do you think this is part of the success of our failure? Like how we have succeeded so well at being so bad at what we're doing. Yeah. Like
I don't even know that we're failing that good.
well, are we failing at succeeding then?
We're like half-assed failing. I think we're failing at failing.
We are going to set a record for the most number of episodes before monetizing.
The most number of episodes that don't ever get watched.
3,506 episodes
Amazingly
in, boys,
Terrible,
and we made
episode
5
4,000.
David, that is a high bar.
And by high bar, we're talking about pot.
So I have to admit, Adam and Mike made very persuasive arguments. I mean, Adam's argument was so cogent. Of course we would watch some other random episode that doesn't make any sense in the sequence. And Mike's point of what I said previous episodes is also very good.
What the fuck did you just say?
But God, this is garbage. I cannot in good conscience allow it near me. I vote down.
Oh,
I voted down.
We got to get a tiebreaker.
Fuck. Okay,
Should we text Derek?
Yes. And of course, Derek is gonna be like Mobile Suit Gundam. It's like military stuff. I'm gonna want to watch it.
I don't know. He watched it with us. He's watched it.
He has
watched it. Well,
so,
what did he?
Yeah. So he
I don't know.
Idea.
Derek is truly the wild card because I don't know what he's thinking.
Derek isn't here because he had like a last minute drill weekend.
Yes. Quote unquote drill weekend. Like that's the.
So he was ready to be here.
Yeah.
He was quote unquote ready to be here. Or more likely, he watched the episode and was like, "I'm not fucking reviewing this with these jackasses."
He's like, "I'm out."
My kid.
This is bullshit, man. I'm not watching I'm not watching cartoons, man. You guys fuck yourselves.
Who's texting?
I hate
Derek?
cartoons.
I hate cartoons. Blah blah blah. I'm Derek. I have my hat on backwards. I love you, Derek.
Damn, Mike. Right to the quick. If Derek was a dog, he would be just limping around, whining.
Bleeding on the carpet. Oh, I feel bad, though. Fucking dogs. With their quicks bleeding. Oh.
All right.
Shall
we move on?
David.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Next is Redemptions.
Redemption.
Redemption mention. Wait.
Looks like Adam already knows that he's the next one.
I do know that I'm the next
does.
one, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing, so I might need a second. We do have Robotech on here, right?
Robotech is on the list.
I feel like Adam's appetite has been whetted for robots.
We do have Starfleet coming up.
Who the fuck put Home Improvement on the live action list? What? What the fuck?
That's terrible.
Jesus Christ.
Terrible.
That is yeah. Terribly terrible.
I'm gonna guess, David, is that you?
I hope not, but it could have been. I'll just go ahead and do mine right now because I'm the next Redemption.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for it. And
I want to remove a Spider-Man, of course.
Thank you.
God damn it.
David.
So Spider-Man 1967 is on the wait list.
You are...
Is that the one where the two Spider-Men are pointing at each other?
Yes.
Since I'm being at a bit of a loss for like what to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enhance the movie list roll.
On the movie list?
So on the main list, where we have movie list 797, I would like to enhance the random index for that. So we're more likely to hit a movie.
You want to enhance the entire movie list?
Yeah, he wants to increase the chances that we'll see a movie.
Okay.
We're not hearing from Derek in order to decide whether or not this episode lives or dies, or this series lives or dies. What if we did a random roll instead? And this way, Mike can continue to fuck your dice, David.
Yeah,
No, I like the idea that David's going to have to come on and do a record later and add it.
I don't fucking...
Breaking update.
I don't trust those dice.
You're just saying that because the roll came up 666.
We want cartoons 26 hours a day.
Oh, we're okay. So next
Yeah.
on
So
Miss
we're
going to-
Terrible, we're going to
666.
random index 666.
No, we're going to 667. Oh my god.
Ooh. Hachimachi!
The critic! Yes!
Yes, the critic.
Yes! Yes!
Nice.
Rosebud peas full of
Oh, we're all gonna be fighting over this
touch
now.
of goodness and green penis.
All right, what episode of The Critic are we watching, David?
Let me check.
Frankie and Ellie get lost.
All right.
You guys gotta kill me.
Is it
What
Mike?
happened?
No, it's me.
Yay! You deserve it, dude.
Yeah,
Nice.
you deserve it.
On a future episode of Amazingly Terrible, we have The Critic, episode 21, Frankie and Ellie Get Lost. But next time on Amazingly Terrible, we are watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, episode 4, Model T for Ted.
Oh, guys, just remember the critic is coming.
We can get through the next
hold out
two
for the critic.
episodes. We can make
hold
it
your
to the
breath.
critic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really hard.
Yeah, just
Although
don't
honestly,
go potty until we reached critic.
I'm actually feeling pretty excited about Starfleet Bomber X though, because that's the puppet episode, and Derek's got to talk about it. So we don't have to do any research.
I'm pretty
or
sure
anything.
you're going to be unhappy.
I'm Mike, and this has been amazingly terrible. What?
Mike, I'm Matt.
I'm happy to be here.
Matt,
Because
I'm
Mike's
David.
happy.
Hi, David.
Hi, everyone.
David, I'm Adam.
I would like to recycle that turtles breathe out of their butt.
Okay.
This is the third time you've used that. No more, Mike. It's done. Come up with an elephant one. Get an elephant fun fact.
Clam spit.
Amazingly Terrible is produced by David and Adam. Music by Josh Woodward. Send your email to monotonouslyterrific@amazinglyterrible.com.
Who's the bald kid that is always whiny?
Caillou?
Fuck Caillou, man.
Oh, I agree. Caillou's a shit.
He's like Charlie Brown, but not funny.
Hey, David.
And I don't even think Charlie Brown was funny. But hey, David.
Who's Caillou?
I don't know.
Oh,
Okay.
you got.